Hey there, everybody. Welcome to my channel. My name is Kelsey, and today I am going to guide you through a new moon yin yoga practice. So the new moon is a time period, first of all, whenever the moon is in its dark phase, we cannot physically see the moon. And so from that, we have started to pull some symbolism and feel the energies of that time period to be a time period perhaps of rest, of stillness, a time of inner listening, and maybe a time in which we are not certain what the future holds. And in that space, there is room for us to set an intention for what we would like to see unfold over the next moon cycle from that new moon that you are currently in into the next new moon. And so we will start our practice today in a supported back bend with opening into the hips. So the moon energy is very much associated with feminine energy, which is associated with the hips. So we're going to start by either using maybe just one block if you only have one block, and bringing that about to the top third of the mat. If you do have a second block, taking that block just ahead of it. And so we'll have one block going under the shoulder blades and then another going underneath the head, supporting the head. So go ahead and turn yourself around, recline down over either your one block that goes under the shoulder blades, letting the head drop back, or if you do have a block that can go underneath your head or maybe a cushion to support your head. Get situated. So you can see here, maybe I'm shifting a little bit side to side. Allow your arms to rest out in any way that's comfortable for you. When you're ready, bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees go apart from one another for the butterfly variation of this pose. Start to notice your breath. And so today we're practicing Yin Yoga because of its inherent nature of being still, soft, and quiet. And these qualities allow us to really listen deeply for our intention. If you're not sure what an intention is or how to set your intention is really just any way of being that you want to see nourished in your life, or it's something that you want to see come to fruition in your life. Your intention is like planting a seed that will eventually grow into nourishing food for your life, or the most beautiful version of your life. And it can be very broad or very specific, and it is completely unique to you. Take another breath in through your nose, and maybe let it out with a sigh. You can bring your hands underneath your thighs to help close your legs like a book. And then roll off of your block to the left and scoot your hips to the center of your mat. If you are using a second block underneath your head, you can move it out of the way for now. And then bring that other block right underneath your left side ribs into a side opener over a block. And so you want to be sure here that the block is not going into your armpit or into your waist, into the fleshy part of your waist, but really right here along the serratus muscles and the intercostal muscles. And then if this is already really intense, that's normal, because not only is this going to give us a stretch into the side body here, but it's also applying pressure, which will create a myofascial release. You can bring your left hand underneath your head for support. And you can start by letting your right arm rest alongside you, or you can reach the right arm up overhead. And maybe eventually you'll be able to release your left ear to rest alongside your left arm, and maybe even hold on to your own hand. Soften the muscles around your hips. Breathe into your right side. Another great thing about Yin Yoga is that it does create an energetic response in the body. And this pose in particular can target both the lung, the large intestine meridians, and also the heart and the small intestine meridians. And those meridian lines, those energetic lines, they help us, first of all, to open our heart, to feel compassion, to feel quite deeply, and also to let go. Both of these could possibly be beneficial during the new moon phase, opening your heart to whatever's possible for the future and letting go of whatever did not serve you in the past moon cycle. One more breath in, and exhale, release from the side by bringing your right hand in front of you to help you come up and away from the block. It might feel good to come around at the table for a moment and just feel the release of that pose on that side. And then we're just going to take that same pose to the opposite side. So I'm going to turn myself around on my mat. You don't necessarily need to do that unless you want to. And this time leaning onto your right hip, bringing the block just underneath your right side rib cage. Again, give yourself some time to settle in here. Maybe prop your head up with your hand. Notice how the pressure of the block is feeling on this side. You can let your left arm rest alongside your body. And so this side is feeling a little bit different for me than the other side. So I'm going to hang out here for a little bit. And just breathe. It could be possible that the other side was really challenging and this side feels a little bit easier. Or both sides could feel really challenging, and that is valid too. Turning your awareness inward and feeling the energetic effect of this pose. Any emotions or realizations that come to you while you're in the pose. Take another breath in. Use your exhale to bring the left hand in front and press away from the mat. Make your way into a tabletop pose. Feel the release of the pose and the sensations that creates in your body. And you can move your block out of the way now. And I'm going to turn around to face the front of my mat again. And from here, we'll come into toe squat. So you can tuck your toes under like I have here, send the hips back to rest onto the heels. For you, it might feel better to just keep your hands in front of your knees. This is perfect. It takes a little bit of pressure out of the feet. If you do have blocks, or at least one block, you could, in fact, place it between your heels here and let the hips mostly rest onto the block to take some of the pressure out of the feet. And then just find that edge for you in this pose. You might close your eyes or at least soften your gaze. And come back to your breath, allowing that steady rhythm to guide you to an intention for this new moon. Take another breath in while you're here. And exhale. Bring your hands in front of your knees if they're not there already. If you are using a block underneath your seat, move it out of the way. And you might like to have your blocks nearby for this next pose. We're going to come into dangle, which is a standing forward fold. It's the only standing pose in Yin Yoga. So you'll just send the weight back so that you can lift your knees away from the mat, press down through your heels to lift the hips, and bring your hips right over your ankles. Hands can totally stay on the blocks on any height. You might start off lifted up pretty high, just letting the head be heavy, letting the spine round. If having a little bend of your knees is more supportive for you, that's perfect. Especially if there's a lot of pulling sensation in the back of your knees. Over time, maybe eventually you're able to release your upper body closer towards your thighs. Breathe here. What comes up for you? How does this pose make you feel? And how can you set an intention that creates the experience you want to have? Amidst any challenges and any obstacles, what intention will you carry through to fruition? Take one more breath in. Exhale, bring your hands onto the blocks or onto your shins to help you lift halfway, straighten out the legs. And then widen your feet apart. About the width of your mat, toes point outwards, heels point in. Start to bend your knees, sink your hips down into a squat. If it's more comfortable for you or it's more sustainable for you to sit the hips down onto a couple of blocks like this, then this is going to be your pose. You can lower the level of the blocks or even just let the hips sink down towards the floor into malasana, or in Yin Yoga we just call it squat. Hands can be together at heart center if this creates the sensation you're looking for. You can also allow your spine to round a little bit here. Maybe hold on to opposite elbow with opposite hand. And once again, your head could be heavy or you can keep it lifted, but no matter what you choose to do, softening your gaze or closing your eyes, coming back to your breath. And trying to soften all along the hips and the legs. Take one more breath in. Exhale. Bring your hands in front of you onto the mat. Shift your weight forward to bring your knees back to the mat into tabletop pose. And then we'll extend the legs back, lower the hips down to your mat. Bring your elbows right underneath your shoulders into Sphinx pose. I hope that this feels good for you after those deep forward folds, deep hip openers, getting a little bit more into the back and the shoulders now. And so as you settle into your Sphinx pose, try to soften your glutes and try to let your arms and the bones of your arms just be what is supporting you. You really don't need to do any muscular effort here unless that is necessary for you to stay at your edge. You can keep your head lifted once again or let the head be heavy. Notice if there's anywhere else that you could soften. Our last couple of breaths here. Take another breath in. And exhale. Release. Just roll over onto one side and then onto your back. You might need to scoot yourself back onto your mat from here. But this is where we will take our Shavasana. You might keep your feet on the mat or extend your legs. Let your arms rest wherever's comfortable for you. And let everything soften into your mat here. And your Shavasana is the time in which you can really trust that your intention has been planted. And Shavasana is a reminder that in the process of bringing that intention to fruition, your rest is just as important as your work. Resting now, you'll hear my voice when it's time to come out. Remaining just as you are, bring your awareness back to your breath. Start to wiggle fingers and toes, wrists and ankles, letting these small movements become larger whenever you're ready. And then you can start to draw your knees into your body, maybe rock a little bit side to side. And then you can let that rocking motion land you over onto one side. And then use your hands to press yourself up and meet me in a comfortable seat at the center of your mat. Whenever you arrive in your seat, go inward one more time, connect with your breath, and recall any wisdom that came up for you from your practice, the intention perhaps that you will carry with you through this next moon cycle. Whatever it is that you are calling in, trust that everything that you need is already within you, and all that you have to do is be open to the journey. With this in mind, bring your palms together in front of your heart, and we'll bow and say, Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today and allowing me to guide you through this new moon yin practice. Let me know how it went for you in the comments down below. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the practice. I put out new classes like this every single Sunday. And with that, I'll leave you here. Have a beautiful new moon, loved one. Namaste.